And again, we're in that new problem that's been created in the past, this episode and the last, that we have a full discussion that is good right before recording.
Yeah.
Now, in this case, it was just like a personal conversation.
Right.
Yeah.
But it leads us to this kind of barren land in between the end of that conversation and the beginning of the episode, where we can't really do our usual soft open.
I think we can get back into that conversation though. Do you think your anus is going to grow back?
Which is
I'm
which
mad.
is a perfect soft open.
Yeah. That's
It's not that soft.
well, not yet.
It is a cold open.
Yes, I'm mad that you beat me to something, because mine was going to be about how Ray and I are staunch anti-slavery people, and I was wondering if you were going to come around to our point of view.
I like either one of those.
Yeah. What I like is the idea of your anus growing back.
Yeah.
It's really funny because it's like, what happened?
Yes.
Did it get filled in? Did it just disappear?
Well, I think it's funny to do that with Brad because character Brad is very tight-assed.
Yeah.
You could say so tight that it's sealed up.
Yes.
so unlike regular Brad.
Yes.
Oh, so unlike
Completely
regular
character Brad.
Yeah,
No,
of
absolutely.
course. Oh
Thank
my
you.
God.
One of those guys you meet afterwards and you're like, wow, he's so different.
Yeah.
Like off camera than he is on camera.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
Hello, and welcome to another episode of Funbearable. I am Real Brad. That's a nickname this time.
I am 100% genuine Ray Harrington.
I became fake Chuck a long time ago, and I haven't seen real Chuck in several years.
Some would say fake Chuck killed real Chuck.
Yeah.
Have you seen the movie Identity? Yeah. That motel had 5 Chucks in it.
So,
And they all were
It's
killed.
Chuck's all the way down.
can I ask a quick question with you guys about movies? Do you ever have movies that you watched when you were younger?
No.
And you're like, this is really cool. I really like this. And now you're like, is that a good movie, or did I just like the idea?
Oh, that's all people that have grown up watching movies.
You think so?
Yeah, I think when you're a kid,
Oh my gosh!
it's like,
Seeing that horse with all its hooves off the ground at the same time, life changing.
yeah.
That's a great film reference.
Yeah. Now, I remember when you were taking people to a movie once, you said to them, like, listen, it's going to look like the train's going to hit
Yeah.
you. Just stay in your seat.
Well,
Don't freak out.
That's because I had made that mistake twice.
Twice, yeah. Shame on that.
Yeah,
Shame on
I
that.
was across the street and I'm looking back and I'm expecting to see the train come out of the movie house, and it didn't. And I went and I asked, and they're like, "No, it's just." I'm like, "Okay." I went back in for the next showing. 12 minutes later, and same thing. I ran out again.
Oh,
I'm desperately trying to think of the name of the Eskimo. That was what it was called, of the first documentary.
Nanook of the
Nanook,
North.
Yes,
Yeah.
that's what it was. Damn.
Played by Brad.
By the way, these jokes that we just did,
yeah.
how many people get them?
I think a lot. I think
Really?
yeah, I think
I
there's
hope
enough
so.
there's enough general knowledge of like the beginning of film.
The horse thing is from. It's also referenced in Nope. Right?
Oh yeah, that's
by Jordan
right.
Peele.
Yeah.
So
I loved Rocky IV in my youth.
We talked about this
Yeah.
on the podcast recently.
Yeah, and I did not love it as an adult.
See,
Yeah.
like identity.
Because now I'm so communist that I'm like, why couldn't Drago win?
Identity,
Clearly a stronger fighter.
Identity is one of those movies where I'm like, I really do love the concept.
Mm-hmm.
Do you think it's a good movie? I don't remember.
I don't know. That's hard. I haven't seen it since it came out.
I liked it a lot.
Yeah,
I thought
yeah.
it was cool.
I think that kind of thing happens all the time, though, especially when you're younger. You're
Yeah.
seeing these things for like the first time, and you're
Yeah.
like, "That's cool."
Yeah.
But also, cool changes very quickly, right? Like The Matrix was amazing.
Yeah.
Of course.
It was a revelation, not Matrix Revelation or Revolution, whatever it was. Wasn't there a Matrix
Revolution?
Revolution,
Yeah.
yeah. And then
What was
remember,
I'm sorry, what was the fourth one called? Was it Revelation?
I think it had to do with some sort of resurrection or something. Maybe it was
maybe
resurrection.
it was Resurrection, yeah.
Yeah.
All right.
So like I loved The Matrix and
Yep.
it was super cool, and then all these things come out that ape it.
Yeah.
And it becomes a different thing, right?
Yes.
And you
Yeah.
look back at the thing. It's the Quentin Tarantino problem, right? Pulp Fiction was incredible, and then so many people started just doing a Quentin Tarantino
Yep.
that it waters it down a little bit, right?
Oh yeah.
And then I remember seeing the second and third Matrix movies, and I remember like the second one being like, okay, there was cool stuff in there.
Yeah, the highway scene. Yeah.
I wonder where this is going. It's a little weird, but I wonder where it's probably going to be good. And then you see the third one, and even then I was just like, oh, you know. But now, I think if you saw the second one, you'd be like, this is bad, right?
I do think that, yeah. Yeah, because at the time, you're almost forgiving it because you hope that they're going to redeem it.
Yeah,
So,
yeah.
like, if let's say Matrix 3 was amazing.
Right. Then 2 would be fine.
Then 2 would be okay.
Yeah, but I do think there's a lot of movies when you're younger, you see it, and you're like, this is great and awesome, because it's important to you in that moment.
Yeah.
Because you're experiencing a new thing for the first time.
See, that's an interesting thing about film, too. It's like I remember, to be completely honest, it's funny because I've worked with him so many times that it's a little strange. I didn't like Clerks when I was young. I was like, people were talking about Clerks like it was this huge deal, and when I saw it, I think I saw Chasing Amy when I was like 13 or 14, and they were like Clerks and Mallrats, and I really enjoyed Mallrats as like a comedy, a teen comedy. But when I watched Clerks, I was like, oh, why does everyone like this? And I think it took me until I was probably around 20 to realize it came out at a time that changed things and that it was a new type of thing at the time.
Yeah.
And then I could see it through that lens, and then I started to like it more, and now I do like it.
Yeah.
So it's almost the opposite problem. But it is so funny because there's some movies. Identity is actually like such a great example because it's a movie that people don't really talk about. It wasn't like an awards thing. It wasn't like a big deal. I'm sure that it was financially successful, but it's not something you would ever serialize or sequelize.
Yeah.
And I really remember loving, like when I first saw it, I really like loved the concept.
Yes.
I just
Yeah,
loved that concept of it. I think we're probably all in the space where we miss movies that are just like that, where they're like, well, a screenwriter had an idea, and it's pretty novel, and a studio gave them a modest budget because it's not like a proven thing, and they just took their idea and made it. Even if it's not your favorite movie of all time or your favorite movie of the year even, it was just a fun journey, and I think we get so much less of that.
That's
now.
how I feel about Milo and Otis. You know, we don't get enough of those anymore just because we're more aware of the horrible treatment of those animals. I don't care how many little doggies it takes. You get those pugs and you put them in the woods. You get 17 Benjis and you make this happen.
That bear ate 50 Milos.
We need another Milo.
Send in another Milo, and they open a truck, and it's just crates of identical.
This one. There we go. Yep. You're Milo now. Go.
That's so terrible. I feel so torn about joking about this.
That's a funny joke, though.
It's 100% what happened.
I mean, they're notoriously like movies like that. You know, you hope you're not that animal. You know what I mean? But
It's so funny. My mom carries the funniest guilt. She loves seeing animals dressed up as people and doing stuff, especially like the older
That's
version.
why she had you.
I was saying Exhibit A. Yes.
But the older version of it. Like I'm talking like black and white when like there's dogs and they're all in a row like doing
okay. Yeah.
And you know they were like kicked and mistreated.
Yeah.
She's like, I love it. I think it's the funniest. She's like, but I feel so terrible.
How does she feel? Where does she land on dogs playing poker?
They cheat.
Oh, you can't trust a dog playing poker.
Is that Trump?
Oh no, that was just sort of like a wild-eyed old lady. You know what I mean? Ugh. But I guess it could be. You never trust a dog playing poker. That's how I lost all my money.
Never play poker with a canine.
Never play blackjack with a cat. I had another thing here, and it went away. It went away in my mind. It's gone. I do like that idea though of just like we're doing old school animal ones, and it's just like, oh no, it's a fucking holocaust of dogs.
Waiting through the credits to see if that American Humane Association thing. They're like, that's weird.
Come on, let me like this movie.
How about this? You know how Disney on they have now added for Disney Plus like contains depictions of smoking, right?
Yes.
How about this? We can have the old animal atrocity films.
Yes.
Your Homeward Bounds.
Yeah.
Your Milos and your Otises. Your Benjis. All of them.
Yes.
But you have to say at the very beginning, in the top corner, how many of them died in the film.
Well, first of all, I want to apologize to the audience. I'm not going to my phone. Craig is editing an episode, and there was an issue, and he's asking me about it, and he's in the middle of an edit, so I feel bad.
Yeah.
I just wanted to answer him.
And we're on our 4th Craig now. So many Craigs have died doing this show.
Right, Craig. Go sit in front of that grizzly bear. All right, Brad, open the truck.
Oh, just being on set and being like, today's the train day. It's the train scene. He's got to jump out of the train. Yeah. What's that? It's 100 dogs. 100 dogs.
Well, they did these blue.
It's 100 Craigs.
Yeah.
They did a Blu-ray
Use guys.
series
We's guys.
for Warner Brothers called Maximum Movie Mode.
Yeah.
Where you could get a movie and you would play the movie and it had the regular movie, or you could go to Maximum Movie Mode, and every time there was like something going on, Kevin Smith did this with Cop Out, they would pause it and they would have outtakes, or they would tell stories from the scenes, and they would make it like 4 hours long with all this stuff, which I think is really fun. I mean, it's for real film fans. You do it with Milo and Otis, and you have the Milo counter. Ding, 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 ding.
Oh no, the house fire scene.
The grizzly bear goes to swipe and it cuts to his face and it goes for like 10 or more.
Oh,
That's so fucked up.
the idea of it is amazing. Like, just like the people talking about it on the, like, you're just crying.
Yeah.
You know, they're just like, it was awful. Yeah, I really. But
Milo and Otis counter and it's like, you bet.
here's what's wild too, though. Just animals in movies. Like last year, I think it was last year. There was a film that came out. Oh my god, I'm drawing a complete blank on the name of it.
Animals?
Nope. It was a courtroom drama about a woman whose husband was either pushed off of a balcony or jumped off a balcony, and that was the big question. I watched it.
Anatomy,
it was in my list.
Anatomy of a Fall.
Anatomy of a Fall.
Yeah.
Thank you so much.
Still haven't watched it in my queue.
It's
Too
fantastic.
Is it based on a real story?
No, but it's an incredible movie.
Not yet.
So there's a dog in that movie that everybody loved.
Yeah.
And that dog, they even cut to a shot of the dog at the Oscars.
Yeah.
Like sitting in a seat.
Really?
Yeah. What I
that's
think is
adorable.
so funny is all of these dogs that are in movies that people love, they have no idea that they were in a movie.
Yeah.
They don't know what a
that's funny.
movie is.
Oh, yeah.
They just know that one day they went to a new place with a lot of new smells, and they had to sit next to a person, and it's like Brad Pitt.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? They had to sit next to him, and then their handler was waving a thing, and they went like this, and then they got to go home. You know what I mean?
It's funny. I hear a lot of stories of like, they'll be like, oh wait, we need a cat for this, or we need a raccoon or something, and they go to like the best one,
Yeah.
or like a rat or whatever, and the animal is just fucking insane, and it doesn't listen to anything, and it takes forever, and it's the hardest thing ever, and it's like complete bullshit that there are some animal actors and some non-animal actors, which I think is fucking amazing and hilarious.
Oh, it's truly wonderful. But you know what we haven't heard
What's that?
in the history of all this film? We haven't heard their voices. You know, we had the Me Too movement,
Yeah.
and we haven't had any information come out about the mistreatment of these animals. How many of these animals
Mizzou.
had to experience something called a casting cushion? Right? What did
Yeah.
Harvey Weinstein do?
Casting leash.
Oof.
Oh, can I ask about this? I kind of have a fun little topic that I think we probably have an answer for this.
Okay, I've got two I haven't done yet. But you continue.
keep going. Go ahead.
No, I haven't done it yet.
Okay.
I haven't even opened it.
Did you have a dream pet when you were a kid? Did you watch like a movie or something and be like, dude?
Oh, Gizmo.
Really?
Yeah, I wanted a
Oh,
Gizmo.
hell yeah, I'd have a Gizmo.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, but like, I mean realistic though. Like,
Oh,
I'm talking
okay.
like Wishbone.
Yeah, I guess
I was-
Wishbone is more realistic than Gizmo.
Yeah, he is. It's a dog.
It's a dog that solves mysteries.
I didn't want him to
He
solve
never
mystery.
solved mysteries. Wishbone?
I thought he was a time traveler.
I don't know
He
what
just
Wishbone
went
did.
into books. He just went into books.
Oh, I'm thinking. Did he dress up as Sherlock Holmes at
Yeah.
some point? That's
Fuck yeah, he
in
did. Are you
one
kidding me?
episode.
well, that's the Wishbone episode that I saw.
First of all, it's totally possible to dress your dog up as Sherlock Holmes. I've done it.
I've dressed other dogs that aren't mine.
I dressed my last dog up like Powerline.
Yeah,
from
I remember.
Goofy movie.
I think it's insane that Wishbone continued on after leaving PBS and started doing his own Wishbone stories that were a little more risque. 50 Shades of Wishbone.
Yeah.
Yowza. Take a look, Wishbone.
Wishbone's a funny name. I really did when I was a kid, though.
Yeah.
It was one of those things where, Ray, you don't have siblings, but like, you know how you have stuff that's like, this was for me, this was for people who were a little older than me, this was for people who were a little younger than me.
Yeah.
For me, Power Rangers was like my younger brother's thing, and Wishbone was my younger brother's thing. So I didn't really watch too much Wishbone, but I'd see him watching it, and I'd be like, I want that dog.
Oh,
That's the dog I want to have. I want to have a Jack Russell Terrier as my dog.
I think.
And The Mask probably influenced that because that's the dog in The Mask.
Truthfully, the first one that comes to mind is animated, and it's Brain from Inspector Gadget. I was like, I want a smart dog who is also cute.
Oh yeah, yeah. It's interesting that you're going with these such fictitious things.
I know. That's.
Did you have any like dream animals that were like, oh, I could convince my mom to get me this for Christmas?
No.
No.
I'll say that doesn't have anything to do with the animals and more to do with my mom's, for a while, no pet policy.
I just wanted a dog, and then I got to have a dog when I was in third grade. We got a dog.
What was your dog's name?
I was happy. Jake.
Jake.
Yeah.
Did you name it?
Yeah.
That's cool.
Yeah.
Jake the Snake.
Nope. He was a dog.
Jake the Gyllenhaal?
They ever stealing food?
What's that?
You ever steal food?
I don't know.
Snake.
I don't know. I'm not sure.
Did it ever give you a DDT and then bring a snake to cover your lifeless body?
He gave me HPV.
Did he ever have a sex addiction where he was having sex with one woman, then two women, they needed toys? Remember that?
Yeah, I do.
Jake had a tragic life.
Jake the Snake Roberts.
This was just a dog.
Oh, okay.
I'm pretty sure you just did dog stuff.
Okay.
I wanted Wishbone.
Huh.
I wanted Wishbone, and this is what I thought about originally. I wanted to have the monkey from Ace Ventura 2 when I was a kid.
Yeah.
And I really believed I could convince my parents. I was such a strange child.
And you've grown into
Breaking
such
news.
a well-rounded adult.
I was so weird.
You know what? This actually... I'm going to bounce out of this real quick. You guys are familiar with a segment that we've done in the past.
Yeah.
Bad characters.
Yes.
I have good news. This
What's
is
that?
not bad characters.
Oh,
okay, good.
This is kind of a take on bad characters, right? What's that? Abstract comedy?
wow. Okay.
This is comedy that is funny, but has genuinely just nowhere to go.
Okay.
Right? The characters had nowhere to go. This has nowhere to go, except for right here, right now. You're so lucky.
Wow. Watching the world wake up to history?
These are humor tone poems. This is comedy that exists not in a measurable way, a quantifiable way, but it gives you a feeling, right?
A quantum of comedy.
Recently, we had the passing of David Lynch,
Yes.
right? An amazing filmmaker, artist. I love the guy.
Yep.
And he was one of these people that really was like, I want to achieve a feeling.
Yeah.
Right.
And so in honor of David Lynch, I am bringing these comedy tone poems to the podcast.
All right.
We're going to start strong. The one that I think is the most non-abstract of these abstract things.
Okay.
And that is, it's just an idea.
All right.
It's a calendar, a wall calendar, and it's just a cucks of the animal kingdom. Since we're talking about animals, I figured.
Yeah,
that's
like
it. Cucks of the animal kingdom.
I like that.
Because I don't know if there are animal cucks.
Yeah, they're. I think that there's like the term beta refers to like a secondary male that is taken over by another.
But beta is one thing. Cuckery is
Cuckery
another
is a little
thing.
specific.
Cuckoldry, right?
Yeah.
Let me bring this to the expert, Brad.
Yes. What am I an expert of?
Cuckery.
Oh. I was hoping it was my nature knowledge.
No, you're an expert in cucking and being cucked.
Well,
You thought
not both of those.
Okay.
you're not in nature. You thought Wishbone was. Go ahead.
I thought Wishbone was Sherlock Holmes.
This is insane.
Sorry that I
This is
didn't
why
know
none of
the
us should-
nature of Wishbone. A show that came out 400 years
He thought
after I was
Jack Russell
born.
Terrier was like the world's greatest detective.
Oh, you're telling me he wasn't?
My point of this.
Yes.
Jesus Christ.
I think there are cases, there are groups of animals where a younger one will challenge the male leader for dominance of the pack, and once that is achieved, will then cuck the former leader.
That's just the ways of the wild.
Yeah.
What I want to see
Is a cuck chair.
I want to see a squirrel sitting in a chair in the room watching another squirrel fuck his wife.
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
I do want to see that too.
Yeah, I want to know if there's a
don't.
raccoon who's just like looking for a third. You know what I mean?
You know who would be the bull? Wishbone.
Wishbone?
Oh yeah, are you kidding
He's
me?
wholesome. I don't think he would be doing that.
Well,
And we never know these celebrities' private lives.
That is true. What if Wishbone's like a fucking monster?
Yeah.
Yeah.
no, he's helpful. He's only doing it with consent.
Harvey Wishbone.
Don't you dare! Don't you fucking dare!
Look what he did to that fire hydrant. Instead of a potted plant.
I think the idea of the calendar, Cucks of the Animal Kingdom, I could see that. Characters are kind of browsing through calendars, and, trying to think of a gift for someone's boss, and they're looking through and they're like, this, Cucks of the Animal Kingdom. I think there's room for this concept.
Yeah,
so, too.
like I want to see the nature documentary of like the lion having sex with the lioness, on the plains. But then the camera pans over to another lion sitting under a tree looking real sad.
Yeah.
But also into it.
Yeah.
Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Okay. And then in the vein of cuckery,
Yep.
Yeah.
cuck is such a funny thing to me,
Yep.
and that it's become a thing that people can just like say to each other is
Yeah.
insane to me, and
Right.
I love it.
Yeah.
It feels medieval.
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay, so this one is just more of, again, we're tone poem. We're kind of going off of the theme of the last one. And this is a genuine thing. When you were children and you would go over somebody's house, Chuck, you had all the things you wanted because you were kind of...
No, I had a kid that was like the kid.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
All right.
Well,
So
you go.
when I didn't have a Super Nintendo growing up. It took forever for me to get a Nintendo. Then I had that, and then I remember there was a kid. He had the Super Nintendo right away. He had all the games.
I told you about the kid with
Yeah.
Toy Day, yeah.
Day.
So this is similar. So I remember going over to his house. Right, I would walk across the street and I'd go to his house, and we were gonna play Super Nintendo, but he was playing Super Nintendo, and I'm basically just watching. I'm literally sitting like feet tucked under my butt, on my knees in the living room watching him play. We were cucks. We were Nintendo cucked.
Yeah, for sure.
Cucktendo.
Okay.
For sure.
Is this something?
Did you ever have like the thing where they're like, I'm playing, but you can hold the other controller and pretend you're playing?
Sure. Yeah.
That is like
It
humiliation.
sucks. It sucks
Yeah.
when you're sitting there, and I would have like I would just be waiting my turn for a thing, and then by the time it is my turn, it's like, oh, what? I got to go home. Oh, okay.
Yeah.
A lot of that happens.
Yeah.
So I think we were cucked,
we were cucked.
and I think sitting there that way is such a like cucky position to be in.
Yeah. There's probably other childhood things we could think of that are kind of the same version of that.
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
weird because I'm like with video games. It wasn't so much in people's homes, but I'd get $1 to go to the arcade, and
And at the time, they were only a nickel.
yeah, and so I play my 20 games, and
Yeah. Games, you would look in the thing and
Yeah.
wind it, and then a lady
just-
would take her leg off or
Yeah.
something.
Yeah, 7 minutes of stick and hoop.
Yep. And
There you go.
But then somebody else like maybe they came in later with $1, and I'm like, ooh, I can watch this person play.
Yeah.
Turtles in Time or whatever, and I'm like, oh wow, they're really good.
Oh, yeah.
And
I think that's a level of cuckery.
Yeah.
I think there is we need a term. We need a term for the video game, like, oh man, all right, I'll wait my turn. Kind of cucktendo, something like that.
There
I don't
was
know.
something like that. Yeah, that's funny.
Oh, Cucktendo 64.
yeah.
Well, there was a. Would you? Yeah, it was like people would either get the new game console or the new thing.
Yeah.
Like the Power Glove or like the Super Scope.
My
or whatever.
cousin Jessie had the Power Glove, and
Yeah.
I was so jealous of that. And
Yeah.
then she got the pad
The power pad.
Dance pad?
that you would like.
Oh, you'd run on it.
Yeah. That's all it did. There was no dancing.
Yeah,
This
that
was
was-
literally like
yeah.
a bad game of running.
Yep.
Yeah, it was
And then
like,
you would
I
have
think
to
it was
do
like
that?
track and field.
Yes, it was.
legitimately.
Yeah.
I bought the N64, and the only game we had was Super Mario 64, which
you
is
got a discount because you were 64 when you bought it.
yes. We only had a one-player game, and so it's this floor of college dudes, and we're cucking each other.
You're just lining up.
Yeah.
Oh, like that.
Cucktendo 64.
Like that girl on OnlyFans or whatever that's like, the British woman that's like sleeping with like 1,000 dudes or some shit?
Yeah.
It's like that.
Yeah. It was like that.
It was like
But
that.
does my Nintendo.
Did you ever have?
Ooh, but you let all those guys run train on that Nintendo.
I think when I was
This controller is so loose.
I think when I was young, we used to. The rules were like, let's see, me and my brother, my cousins, and stuff like that, like Christian and Denny. We would be like, you play the game. Let's say it's a one-player game, but we're all together. You play until you die.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right?
We did a lot of that.
But then sometimes you'd like beat a level, and they'd be like, okay, my turn.
Right.
And you'd be like,
I didn't die.
No, I didn't die. I won.
Yeah.
And it would become like a thing. And then it's like, how many levels? Like, what if you don't die?
Yep.
You know what I mean? That's
Yeah.
an interest. Yeah, there's probably a lot of that.
Yeah, Cucktendo.
Cucktendo, I like that. Hey everybody, this episode of Funbearable is brought to you by Narragansett Beer. I grew up here in Rhode Island. I love Narragansett Beer. I love the imagery of it. It's kind of iconic. And when I went out to Chicago this Christmas to visit my girlfriend's family for the first time and have a nice Christmas holiday with them for the first time, what did I bring? My favorite Narragansett product, their hard iced tea collaboration with Dell's Lemonade. And we all had some sips, and we had a great time. And
That's so fun, and I wish I could hear a family of Chicagoans talking about flavors. Oh my God, that sounds amazing.
it was great.
This beer's really, oh my God, it makes me so happy. It really does.
It was such a pain to fly with, but I really am happy
Did you go
I did it.
can by can up there, or did you do the whole six pack at the same time?
Boop, and Brad's like, that's one.
You're having Brad do it?
Well, he
else is
can't
gonna
do it
help me?
himself. Yeah.
kidding me?
Hey, best friends, have a Gansett.
I'll say after number 3, Chuck said, "You're putting them in long ways, right?"
And also, he's kicking them in. I don't want to touch it.
Yeah.
But check out NarragansettBeer.com. Follow at Gansett Beer on Instagram. And check out their location, their brewery in Providence. It's an awesome place. It's super fun, super relaxed. It's a place where even someone like Brad, who doesn't necessarily like to be in like a loud bar environment, I think even Brad would feel comfortable just kind of hanging out there and just hanging with friends, you know? So it's
true.
a great place.
It's true.
Check it out. Providence, Rhode Island. If you're in the New England area, check it out. And otherwise, around the country, find some Narragansett beer.
I do. Now it makes sense the way you were smuggling it, because you said that the one thing that the Chicagoan family was complaining about was, these cans are so slippery.
But they smell great. That's my Chicago. I don't even know what it is.
They smell like Brad's breath? How did they know? Now we're getting away from cuckery. This is the final thing.
Okay.
This is the most tone poem. We've kind of set this like, oh, we're, train of thought. We're moving through things. Now we're completely in abstract world. David Lynch would love this next one. Are you ready?
A head made of erasers.
Close. I just want to give you this idea. Just set the scene in your minds, right? Okay. Audio only listeners, you're in the perfect place. Just really picture this. Don't close your eyes. You're probably driving. It is simply this: George Lucas describing a Chicago-style hot dog to someone that's never had it. That's it. That's the whole thing.
I like this. This is very soothing.
Yeah, George Lucas describing a Chicago-style hot dog to someone that has never had one.
I like George Lucas talking about a thing that is not making a Star Wars thing.
Yeah.
Like just talking about what it is.
But the idea of him, I think every line of describing a Chicago-style hot dog is hilarious when it is George Lucas. Because, just starting with... Just the idea of the bun is completely different.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Stuff it's not even the same bun that you would expect. You know?
Go ahead. Guess what kind of seeds are on it?
Yeah. Poppy. There's a whole pickle spear in there. Do you like tomato?
That's fun. I like that.
It is very fun. Yeah.
Yeah.
There's these peppers. They're not jalapeno. but they're bright green.
Yep.
And so is the relish.
Oh.
It's not regular relish.
Yeah. Okay. George Lucas is losing his mind.
And then
He's
there's,
describing this
celery
weird
salt.
space hot dog.
There's also celery salt.
All right, that's not even a real thing.
Where are you taking me? Get your hands off me. But the idea of George Lucas describing it to me, I don't know why, it really entertains me.
Yeah.
It
No,
really,
I like that
really
a lot.
does.
It's fun. I like that a lot.
Yeah. So those were the three abstract things that I wanted to bring to the table.
I like
Oh,
it.
they're fun. I like that.
Yeah.
And you brought up David Lynch. Mm-hmm. I was thinking about David Lynch the other day because he's someone I really respect and like.
Yeah.
He was a cast member on the Cleveland show. Did you know that?
That sounds vaguely familiar. I know David Lynch would pop up on like Family Guy sometimes or something.
I think it might have just been Cleveland show. He was the guy. He owned a bar on Cleveland show, and he was the bartender, I believe.
That's fun.
And I was thinking about this recently because Natalie, my girlfriend, loves Bob's Burgers. You love Bob's Burgers as well, right?
Yeah, my son is like a
Yeah.
huge.
That was your family Halloween costume.
Yeah,
That's right.
We were Bob's Burgers, minus Tina and Louise.
Yeah.
And
we only have one child.
Yes, I was thinking about the idea of how H. John Benjamin, he's a extended cast member on Family Guy as the guy who works at the convenience store, and he's Archer and he's Bob.
Yeah.
Does he do stand up still?
I don't think he does.
Is he just like rolling in cash and he just
I don't
does
know.
voiceover?
I don't know how much money is there, but it's got to be pretty decent. You know,
Bob's Burgers is a pretty
Yeah,
successful
yeah.
Did
show,
we
dude.
see him open for like The Lonely Island or
I think we saw Eugene
Tenacious
Merman
D?
open.
Ah, there we go. That's who I was thinking.
yeah,
So
Eugene.
yeah.
Eugene still does stand up.
Yeah.
Oh, for sure.
Yeah.
Eugene Merman does.
Yeah,
It's just
who's also like super nice. I like Eugene.
I was with Natalie and she was showing me Bob's Burgers. She really loves it. She wants me to get into it.
Yeah.
And I'm like, it's so funny because my introduction to H. John Benjamin is H. John Benjamin has a van.
Yeah.
And I'm like, is he just like, is he at a different part of his life and he's just not this anymore?
Yeah,
Imagine that.
I mean, he's, I think there are a lot of people that do make their way to voice acting.
Yeah.
And just sticking in that world. It's kind of hard to fight it too, because think about how comfortable that is.
Yeah.
Well, one of the things
amazing.
One of the things we've never released yet that has been recorded was me and sitting down with Nolan North from Uncharted and Assassin's Creed. We haven't released that episode yet. We did the raps and everything.
I know.
And talking, and he's like, "I'm an actor. I'm not a voice actor.
Right.
I'm an actor." And he just happened to become like possibly the most prolific video game voice actor.
Yeah.
But no, it just kind of struck me. I'm like, oh, when I think of this voice, which is an incredible, extremely unique voice, great presence, great delivery, awesome. It's really interesting to think of that person starting out as a stand-up in the world that we're all pretty familiar with and surrounded by.
Yeah.
And then seeing it just become like, well, I'm actually just this now, pretty much.
Yeah.
It's a really interesting thing.
Well, that's good. Like the voice acting community is like there is like a little mafia in that,
Yeah.
where it's like no, these are the people. You know what I mean? So I think once you're in, you wanna keep doing it. I love doing voice stuff.
I
Yep.
know.
So if I had that avenue, I'd be like, yeah, I love doing
Yeah.
this. I would still do stand up because I enjoy it so much. But yeah, it is a weird thing. This is perfect. This is a perfect pivot.
Okay.
To the main thing.
Okay.
That I wanted to bring up. So there was the fun little light thing.
Yep.
And I said before we started recording this that I wanted to tell you something that I knew would make Chuck, as I said, in his language, squeal and squeak.
Yep.
Sitting in the chair. He would squirm and squeal.
Yep.
So hopefully we can get to the full squeal.
As long as he doesn't squirt.
I'm already halfway there.
Oh no.
Here's the thing, though.
I'm at
Like,
leak.
nothing we do can control it. That's true. You know what I mean? We can't make it happen. We can't make it stop.
Yeah.
The squirts are going to be there.
Yeah.
But just like a low budget soda machine,
Yes.
the squirts are going to be
Yeah.
there. No, so speaking of like voice acting, right?
Yeah.
And, film stuff, I wanted to say Finn, my 10-year-old son, since last week, has seen the trilogy of Planet of the Apes,
I love
Ooh, okay.
the Caesar trilogy.
Yeah.
the new one. Yeah.
Yeah. We talked about it. He was like, what about Planet of the Apes? And because he heard Kalina and I talking about it.
Yep.
And I thought about it, and I was like, I think this is okay.
Yeah.
I think this is okay.
For sure.
You know, there's violence, there's blood, but it's like we can navigate this. You know, he watched Deadpool and Wolverine because I edited out the inappropriate stuff. So I was like, okay, this will be fine. And I do believe that he is much more like film literate than an average 10-year-old.
Right.
Because he has this fucking film buff, what is it, snob in my snob and cop thing.
Yep.
You know, as
The
his father.
identity, the identity expert. You love the movie Identity.
Wait till you see my back tattoo. The handprint. Oh my god. It used to be just a motel, but I made it specific to the movie.
Yeah.
Do you think there's anybody in the world that has like a Super 8
This is what I mean.
tattoo?
I think about all these movies that are like
No, not the movie. I'm talking like a literal motel,
Yes.
like a Days Inn or a Super 8 or something like
yeah,
that.
I think
Motel
so.
6.
Yeah, I
somebody
think
with
so.
a Motel 6 tattoo.
I think there's probably somebody with the logo, but the idea of like a sketch, that's tough, of like the sketch of the hood. I'm sure, but I mean, people
probably
get
someone who like
tattoos.
some weird guy who had to travel for his job, and he ended up booking it a bunch of times in a row, and then was like, you know what, this is my place.
Yeah,
That's the
yeah.
guy who has
Yeah.
it. You know,
Yeah.
It's
I
weird.
do-
I picture a white guy with a white suit, and he has like a straw hat, and he's like kind of like Randy Quaid.
Colonel Sanders?
No, like
it was
Randy
close.
Quaid. In,
Randy Quaid.
Yeah, in Vacation,
Man, Randy Quaid.
as like a salesman.
he would be in a Motel 6.
That's what I'm saying.
Randy
Yeah.
Quaid right now.
He loves it.
He's in a Motel 6 making like a YouTube video that's absolutely insane.
Yeah.
And the Motel 6 manager is calling the police.
The,
Yeah.
the character I'm thinking of is happier at the Motel 6 than he is at home with his family.
Oh,
He
okay.
likes the staff. He's kind of the guy. He's hanging out. He's like, I sell vacuums.
Yeah.
In 1962.
Is it John Candy in Planes, Trains?
Pretty much?
Yeah.
Close.
I could see that.
but a little bit scummier, I think.
Oh, no.
because he's very lovable.
He is lovable.
But the person that would get the Motel 6 tattoo is scummier than that.
True. Very true. Yeah. So so Finn watched the movies, and I was like, I told him up front, I'm like, look, you're gonna cry. I'm letting you
For
know.
sure.
Yeah.
And I was like, I'm gonna cry.
Yeah.
When we watch it together.
Yeah.
And I'm so proud of that kid. I'm so proud of that kid. It makes me so happy because we watched the first movie, which I think is a great inroad to the rest. Right? I
too.
think if it started with the
second
two,
one? Oh.
I think it would. That's big, right?
Yeah. Oh.
So it hooks him really with this emotional connection with Caesar.
Yep.
By the way, I just want Andy Serkis is fucking incredible.
Yep.
It's Planet of the Apes, the new series. I don't know why. It
We
seems like
can't even say new series because they have that new one that they've started with Kingdom.
right with Kingdom.
The Caesar trilogy.
The
is
Caesar
how I call it,
trilogy.
yeah.
I just feel like somehow, even though they obviously must have made enough money to make these very big budget movies, I feel like so many people missed out on these movies.
Yeah, they're underappreciated. I underappreciated them. Like before I finally like heard what you were saying, like, and other people, I finally gave it a chance. And it's funny, like Kalina my wife would come into the living room when Finn and I were watching them and kind of catch a little of it. And she said so many times, she's like, I can't believe we wrote these off. I can't believe
Yeah.
I put this in the Transformers category when I saw trailers.
Me
right?
too.
Yeah.
I think it's probably a hard series to communicate to an audience.
Yeah, I mean, the trailers, I was just like, what? You know, and
Yeah.
like you just see in a trailer, like most of the action beats, and
Yeah.
you see CGI monkeys holding guns, riding horses. You're like, okay, yep, no, thank you.
I know.
You can't convey
I think you're right.
the level of connection and emotion you have,
and storytelling.
and
Yeah.
storytelling, and the performance of this. I think Caesar is, as a written character, Caesar is one of the best protagonists in the last like 20 years.
Wow.
He's great as a
Yeah.
hero.
Yeah.
That's what I mean.
hero
Yeah, as a
character.
protagonist
Yeah, exactly.
in a film, like that hero's journey and doing all those things, I don't think you can find one better. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? You can like a different character more, for
Right.
sure.
Yeah.
But I think in terms of just like the beats of the thing, that's like next level. And
think
his performance is incredible. Yeah.
I think the second one is like the masterpiece of the three.
Sure,
but
yeah.
I think all three are really great.
Yeah,
in
well,
different ways.
I think it's crazy by the third movie, and what made me so happy about it was, Finn getting it,
Yeah.
like really understanding. He's 10,
Yeah.
and sitting down and being like, "Hey, man, we're gonna watch these movies." And the third one, a big part of this is the quandary that a man can have between vengeance and like looking for peace and what's better overall,
Right.
and
Yeah.
like that concept and like hate in your heart.
Oh.
And he got it. He's
Yeah.
10 years old and
Yeah.
he understood what was going on.
Yeah.
He was so into it. He was like as soon as we finished watching for one of the nights, the next day he's just like, "Can we finish the movie? Can we finish the movie?" And the next ones he was just like champing at the bit to watch those movies. I'm so proud of him for getting it and connecting with
yeah.
it. And I look over, he's crying, and I'm like, "It's okay. I'm doing it too."
Yeah.
For the right reasons,
Right.
right?
Yes,
Like
yes.
we were talking, and in the second movie, I caught two things that I didn't connect the first time through. One, in the second movie, the kind of base that they've built, right? Their little home community in
Yeah.
the woods. In the center, the rock that's there, they've carved the symbol of the window.
With the window.
right? I didn't catch that the first time I watched it.
Awesome.
And then because we watched them back to back, I realized the touching heads thing, forehead to forehead thing, is their "I love you."
Yep.
Because James Franco did it to Caesar when he was a little monkey.
Yep.
And I said, "Oh," and I said that out loud, and then I look over and Finn goes, "Yeah." And then immediately started crying. And I'm like, "It's okay. This is
Yep.
good.
Yep.
This is amazing." I was so happy. And there is a part of me, yes, that like I feel proud that he gets it and he's into it and understands it on a film level as a film fan.
Yeah.
There's also a part of me as a personal side, like being able to have a positive experience with crying at a movie as a kid with his dad.
Yeah, for sure.
There's a lot of dads that are like closed off to
Oh,
that
yeah.
stuff.
Oh, yeah.
And I have a scarring experience with that. Like,
Really?
Yeah, truly.
Where
yeah,
your
yeah,
dad
yeah.
said something about you crying?
Yes. Oh. So, like, my dad was not around, right?
Right.
And when I was very young, like a few times I went over to his house or apartment, whatever, and I have a distinct memory. I was so little. I don't even know. 5, 6, maybe. And he had a VHS of Puff the Magic Dragon, the cartoon.
Yep.
Yep.
Did you just laugh at Puff the Magic
Well,
Dragon?
it's the idea of being mad at a kid for being upset with Puff the Magic Dragon.
Yeah. So I watched the VHS with him.
Yep.
It ends. Puff the Magic Dragon leaves, and I was crying.
Yep.
And my dad looked over at me and he went, "Why are you crying like that?
Oh, my
Why are you
God.
crying?" With the look of like, "What the fuck?"
Yeah.
Right?
I would cry at Puff the Magic Dragon today. No joke.
Yeah, sure.
No joke.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I didn't know what to say. I was like 5 or 6. I couldn't say this emotional film. This cartoon
Yeah.
about a kid who feels like
He's
alone.
losing his childhood.
He's losing everything.
Yeah.
And the father figure that magically showed up and showed him a good time is leaving. I wonder why that would affect me.
Yeah.
Absentee father.
Yeah.
I know.
So I didn't know what to say. I panicked and I looked down at my shoes and my shoe was untied. And I went, "Oh, my shoe's untied. I can't tie my shoe." I just
Oh,
panicked.
you made up a reason.
Yeah. And he's like, "Oh, God." And he tied the shoe. And all I remember is just feeling really embarrassed and bad that I cried.
Yeah.
And that's like it's like, "Oh, dude, like if I had a time machine, I would go back and go, he's imprinting this. Stop." Like it's too much. So it is nice to, come
That's
full
great.
circle and like have that experience. But I wanted to tell you, Chuck, because
Yeah.
I know you have such a chimp chode for that series of movies. Brad's reacting like, "Oh, he's making the face of what he thinks a chody chimp would have."
Yeah.
Well, it's so funny.
It's my new character.
I think part of the reason I went into that, I'm not really connected to the original Planet of the Apes movies. They're definitely
Yeah.
before our time.
Oh yeah, I mean the first one was like what 68, I think.
So it's weird, and whatever Planet of the Apes stuff was around in the, let's call it, mid to late 80s was shitty, right?
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
All the sequels got bad.
Yeah, they were weird, and like they turned real bummer.
Yeah.
I've learned that I have a surprising amount of knowledge about those movies that I didn't know I had.
I do now just because of working on the Tell 'em Steve Dave projects, and Walt is like a huge Planet of the Apes guy, so I know a lot about them, and I even have some like affection for like the Planet of the Apes treehouse toy set.
Right.
How
Sure.
cool that is.
I have nothing but affection for Charlton Heston.
True.
Star of the original.
Right.
Come on.
So and
It's a madhouse.
And you want to honestly know what initially warmed me up to Planet of the Apes was
Nudity.
the musical version of it and The Simpsons.
Oh
Wow,
yeah.
Fucking
Dr.
awesome.
Zaius.
Dr. Zaius. Yeah.
And when I was a kid, there was an album called Songs in the Key of Springfield. It was a CD, and I would listen to it all the time, and that was one of the things they had on it. I think you're crazy. I want a second opinion. You're also lazy. So it's so good. But what happened was when they came out with the first one, at the time, I like Franco. I think John Lithgow is like incredible. It's almost like I wish he was. I wish I could experience him at a different time because I was 11 or 12 when Third Rock comes out, and he's already like pretty old.
I do a no words impression of John Lithgow. I do a 1 second sound impression of John Lithgow.
All right.
Do it.
This is why you watch the video, viewers. Sorry, listeners, you're only going to get the sound. You ready? John Lithgow.
Bravo! Bravo!
John Lithgow plays his character in Third Rock from the Sun like there's an Oscar for comedy and he's going for it.
Yeah.
Sure, yeah.
I think he's fucking awesome.
What about French Stewart?
like so weird?
Yeah.
Jimmy Fallon did a great impression of him on SNL.
I can see that.
French Stewart was perfect for that role too.
Jimmy Fallon very much is like the French Stewart of.
It was weird. He was always.
I don't even have to finish it. Just of.
Yeah.
I think Jane Curtin was fucking awesome too.
Oh hell yeah! That was a fun show.
It was
a fun show.
It was an excellent show.
Yeah.
It's the kind of show that's like it just feels so wacky. The idea that they're an alien family and all this stuff.
Here's what I love the most about Lithgow being in that movie, though. In the first of the Caesar trilogy, is the fact that he was in Harry and the Hendersons, which is another ape-like creature, right? And in this one, he has dementia, and it's sad, and he dies.
Yep.
But if you think about it, it could have been more like Caesar slapping John Lithgow and saying, "Get out of here!
Yeah, true.
We don't want you anymore."
Yeah.
That would have been fun.
He
would have said it like, "Get out of here. We don't want you anymore." I fucking love Caesar. I would die for that man.
I loved the movie. I mean, so I was open to it because of Franco and John Lithgow. I really liked, but I really opened up from a place of spite for a man who sits beside me.
I thought I was like, oh, are we going to bring this up?
What's happening?
So we went to see the trailer for, and we
didn't go to see a trailer.
Sorry,
that sounded insane when you said it.
We went to the movies.
And we were seeing the Phantom Menace trailer.
Yes.
When you have a friendship that lasts 47 years, you got a story for everything, baby.
We had seen, like YouTube, like, oh, there's a Planet of the Apes movie coming out. And I was a movie snob. And I was like, that looks dumb. I don't want to see it.
I get it, man. It's really hard to impart to people.
But he said
but these are like good.
He said something unforgivable.
We were in the theater for a different movie. They played the trailer for the first of the Caesar trilogy. Mm-hmm. And, after the film, Chuck's shoving people, asking their opinions on things. He said, "What'd you think of that Apes trailer?"
I thought the trailer looked good. I thought it looked good. I'm not saying, oh, this is gonna be the best movie ever, but I'm like, oh, that looked pretty good.
And I said something like, "It doesn't look like it'll be the worst movie ever."
That's not what he said.
Yeah.
You want to know what you said?
Yeah. What did I say?
Oh God.
Because he kind of reluctantly was admitting that it looked okay.
Yes.
And Brad can confirm or deny.
I'll deny
that he said.
I choose deny, please.
He goes, I guess that movie, that trailer didn't make me want to bomb every movie theater showing it.
Yes.
Jesus.
I did. Well,
Isn't that weird? Oh, God.
Yeah,
let's take a vote. Do we think that's a little much?
The hand's got to go up for it. Brad, I think you should vote for this as well.
I said I didn't want to bomb every theater showing it.
Okay, but that's like this is like legalese where like that's like if I went up to a stranger on the street and went, I don't want to cut your fucking head off and put it in a small pillowcase and bring it to your parents and show it to them and make it talk like it's a monkey ventriloquism doll.
Oh, good. He doesn't want to.
Yeah, they're like, this is fine. This guy is salt of the earth.
So for some reason he had this reaction to it.
This intentionally hyperbolic reaction that Chuck took as gospel truth.
I mean, I wouldn't talk about bombing a theater in a theater. Probably bad idea, right?
Right.
This is like when I took
And you were dressed as the Joker at that time?
I talked about bombing every theater in a theater. Again, about not bombing every theater.
Your Honor, I couldn't even pull it off.
Yes. How would anyone do that?
Look at my bank account,
Look
Your
at the
Honor.
logistics
Look at that.
involved.
This is how many theaters showed this movie opening week.
Yeah. This is how many theaters I realistically could bomb.
But then when you factor in driving times and the price of gasoline, it would have just been these 5.
I don't know. It's so funny because doesn't that comment seem so different from this person in front of us? And it's weird. I wonder why you said that.
It was 16 years ago, 17 years ago.
Yeah.
And I was just making a joke that didn't work. And
That was that year you were on that Rum Springer, right?
But I think that because he
this
was,
is my 5th rum spray every 17 years.
it kind of became
5 of them. Wow.
it became a runner to that he doesn't like Planet of the Apes.
Yes.
To the point where I wrote a monstrous story that we then printed into a hardcover book called Planet of the Brats.
Yep.
And
Which led to last year's Planet of the Gibbies.
Yeah.
Oh, that's right.
That's fun.
It is fun.
That is really fun.
But
I don't want Andy
humble
Serkis
beginnings.
to play Gibby. Don't do that to that man. I want to bring this up about Andy Serkis.
Yes.
That is a man where if you sit down and go, this is what he's done, right?
It's bizarre.
It's so insane that this is the guy who really he's the tip of the spear when it comes to advancing this idea of motion capture.
Right.
I agree.
And, like getting a real performance out of it. Like he was Gollum and that whole situation and the story of why am I drawing a blank on the filmmaker of
Peter Jackson.
Peter Jackson, yeah. I wanted to say Jack something.
Jack Peterson.
Jack Peterson. Oh, his movies are not very good.
Ring of the Lords.
Yeah.
Ring of the Lord.
It was a porn.
Yeah.
Yuck.
Jack Peterson.
I will say though, Gollum, I would.
But I did jack my Peter.
Let's just say the scenes of putting the ring on are different, right?
Yeah.
There is an old man in a robe the whole time.
Yes.
So we could do this all day.
I know.
The story goes, if I'm remembering, it might be apocryphal, but that he was originally just going to voice Gollum, but when Peter Jackson saw his performance in the recording, was like, oh no, we want to capture his performance.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think
Is
that's
that-
correct.
Yeah.
Can I give you a weird, not great fact about him?
Oh no, don't do it. Don't Pine Grove this.
Don't Mizu this.
Well, two of the really bad movies of recent memory, I think are widely, we all know that like Sony's terrible Spider-Man spin-off movies like Kraven the Hunter and Morbius.
Yeah.
He's like responsible for those two movies.
Andy Serkis?
I think Andy Serkis, I'll look it up.
Are you thinking of Family Circus?
I think that Andy Serkis directed Venom 3. I swear to God, I'm going to look this up because
Please look that up. Thank you.
I also was like, is this possible that this is right? I was like, it's the same Andy Serkis that was Caesar, King Kong,
Right.
Gollum. Like, I'm like, is this possible that it's the same person? And I almost didn't look it up because I didn't want to believe it to be true.
I don't think it's true.
You know what?
That sounds.
I don't
maybe
know.
it is. Maybe it is. Who knows? But I will say this about his performance, like his on-screen stuff,
Yeah.
right? Ironically, not on screen.
Right.
It's unfortunate that there's not a category that you can. I talked about this
Yeah.
with Kalina. Like, I don't think you'll ever see a day where they're going to give an Oscar for like best performance,
Right. In
like
a
best
motion
actor.
capture.
Yeah. That's not going to happen. And also, I don't see the Academy in any way being like, let's give best actor to a motion capture.
Yeah.
You know, so it's tough because it's like this guy, Kalina, you know, kind of hit the nail on the head. At some point, like he will get old enough, they're going to give him a lifetime achievement award. For sure.
Right.
Yeah.
But it's unfortunate that there is so much of his work that goes less recognized. Not unrecognized, but less recognized because of the nature of it, right?
Right.
Yeah.
It's so interesting because I do think he's phenomenal. He really, really is.
No, he is.
There's so much work that goes into like believing that character. And, you know, and of course the animation people behind it, they get a lot of credit for that, for sure. But yeah, I loved those movies. Completely unexpected, and I'm really happy that Finn is like growing into this kid who has those things. You know, like he can't go to school and talk with other fifth graders,
Right.
about Planet of the Apes.
Yeah.
You know, and that I love that. I love that he has that in him.
No, me too. I agree
You know,
with that. That's great.
Bob's Burgers, we talk about that with him. Like, are any of your friends into Bob's Burgers? Because we didn't get him into Bob's Burgers.
Right.
I showed him, I was like, oh, maybe you'll like this.
Yeah.
You know, checked it out. Oh, it's appropriate. I had seen a little bit of it. I'm like, you might like this.
Yeah.
And he adores it, right?
Yeah.
He can't, there's nobody at his school that's like into Bob's Burgers. He's tried to get his friends into it and they're like, yeah, whatever.
Yeah.
And it's fun because I want to pull him aside and just be like, hey man, that's the path of being somebody who's really into this kind of stuff.
Yeah,
You know?
exactly.
But it's cool.
It is cool.
Yeah, so I'm really happy that he's a 10-year-old that can be like, yeah, I can absolutely understand that Caesar was worried that he was becoming Kobo.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? That's
Yes.
that's incredible.
No, you're 100% right.
Yeah,
I think that's
love
awesome. I really, like I said, I really respect the movies. The first one, I'm like, this was really good.
Yeah.
And then the second one, you're just like, this is the new Jurassic Park.
And I got to point it out, the first movie had a different director. Matt Reeves did 2 and 3,
Yes.
who did the Batman. And I can't remember who said it. There was a filmmaker who said the best shot of film of the year that 2 came out.
I know who said it.
Who said that?
Bret Easton Ellis.
Was it Bret Easton Ellis? Said that one shot on the tank,
On the
as
tank.
it rotated around was the best shot in cinema. And I'm
It's
like,
so interesting that you and I could both come across that quote about a movie from I don't know how long ago and remember it.
Yeah.
It's so bizarre.
Yeah.
It was on his podcast.
this is how good those movies are.
They are.
That a snob and a cob can come together. You know, and be like, and you know what? That's what I think Caesar would want.
I think
He
so
would
too.
want peace.
Between
Right?
I'm a Kobo.
Yeah. Apes strong together.
I think the design of the character of Koba
Koba, sorry, not Kobo.
is like
Kobo's
it's
an e-reader.
the design of like see this is where I think not to get off on a thing where I think Disney is really faltering with these live action remakes of things is like they're just making animals and it's
I
like
know,
look
that
at
don't
Timon
emote.
and Timon's like
Yeah.
And you're
Oh,
just
look,
like-
it's a boar.
but like Koba as a villain is fucking legit frightening. It's
It's-
frightening.
When he dances up to the soldiers, I think it's
He does
in
the-
Yeah,
he does
yeah.
the gun thing and he gets serious.
Uh-huh.
Or when he falls. I mean,
Incredible.
Yeah.
I think the tank shot is amazing, but if you really want to be this is kind of how I pitched it to people because a lot of people kind of just didn't care about it that I
Yeah.
would talk to about it. I was like, the way you feel when you saw Jurassic Park for the first time and how you're like, dude, what the fuck? Like the T-Rex, the raptors. That's the opening shot of the second Planet of the Apes movie, where it's the close up in the rain
Yep.
of his eyes and
Oh,
his
yeah,
face, and
man.
it pulls out, and you're like, that's 100% fake. I mean, even finding out that the orangutan in the first movie is 100% fake. I thought I was positive that orangutan was real.
Yeah, yeah.
I was like, all right, they made a fake monkey, blah blah. They're like,
Yeah.
every monkey was fake, and I was like, even that one, it's just like a real thing.
You had reached out to it to be on the podcast.
Yeah.
which was-
I was like, who is doing motion capture? Can I get involved? And they said yes, and that's me. I'm the orangutan.
Yeah.
Wow.
You kept saying I want one extra ping pong ball, and they were like, "Where are you going to put it?" And you're like, "Just give me the ping pong ball."
It's mine.
Do you have smaller ping pong balls?
So, real quick, to give you a little bit of conclusion to our mystery.
Oh yeah, about Andy Serkis directing.
So, the Sony Spider-Man offshoot movies
Yeah,
have really pushed me into snob territory.
I like to call it the "Is this something?" verse. Right? They put out the movie and they go, "Is this something? Do you want this?"
It's the most disingenuous, corporatized version of film.
Disingenuous.
Yeah.
Sorry. Disingenuous, corporatized version of like what this is. You know how we all talk about the fact that there are these huge superhero movies. It's you can't get away from the idea of Marvel.
Yeah.
And you can argue about the negatives and the positives of it. And there's the highs and the lows, and there's people like Ryan.
In between the facts of life.
But there's people like Ryan Coogler, who's like a real legit filmmaker making something that is actually kind of important for people.
Sure.
That's part of this. And then there is Madam Web. And there's like Sony has completely pushed me into this territory of being more cynical. I've realized this recently than I've ever felt about like a version of movies. And the Venom ones are the best of the Sony movies, and they're bad.
And that's saying something, yeah.
They're essentially I equate them to Resident Evil / Underworld. They're not good movies. They're movies that would be straight to video to me in terms of quality 20 years ago. Venom 1 is probably the best one.
Yes.
Venom 3 is probably the second best. And Venom 2 is the worst, and it was directed by Caesar himself. Andy
Julius
Serkis.
Caesar. Oh.
Hey, listen.
How is this possible?
Can I say
Well,
something
I mean,
about
people
it?
are good at different things.
Yeah, I was
Well,
just
why
gonna,
would he do it?
Let me say this. Okay, Your Honor. I will say this.
Let's go.
Everything I... I'm gonna like my eyeball will pop out when I do that. No, I never said Andy Serkis was an amazing director. I said he's an amazing performer.
And by the way, I think he still probably could be a good director. Like, when you're making fucking Venom 2 for a company that's like, here's what we're gonna do: we're gonna rug pull every person who's a fan of these big movies. Every single time we make a movie, you're probably at the mercy of a lot of things.
Yeah.
So I'm not even saying like if he comes out with another movie that's unrelated to that, it won't be good. It could be good, but it's just shocking the involvement.
Yeah.
Do you remember that he's a character in Black Panther?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, he gets his arm blown off.
Right,
He dies in something.
Claw,
I think.
maybe?
Yeah, Claw.
Yeah.
Ulysses
Yeah.
Claw, maybe. But no, I mean it's the Planet of the Apes movies, and for anyone out there who hasn't watched them, if
really
you're just
should,
a fan of like
Good movies.
if you're a fan of like to me it's like you know how Dark Knight crossed over the idea of summer blockbuster and excellent film. That's what these are doing.
I would say if you like these movies, this is going to sound weird, maybe because it's back in the zeitgeist right now.
Yeah.
The three movies to me, I would say are like. This is going to sound weird. It's feeling based. David Lynch, right? It's feeling based. Gladiator.
Yeah, probably.
Yeah.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Yes, especially. Did you see the new one, Kingdom?
I did. Yeah.
I thought Kingdom was pretty good.
Oh wait, are we talking about? I'm sorry.
I'm talking about Planet of the Apes.
Oh,
I'm
because we were talking about Gladiator. I saw the new Gladiator. Yeah.
You didn't see the new Planet of the Apes?
I have not yet.
I would equate it to Batman Begins, which is not my favorite thing. However, I'm like, it's like 150 years later.
Yeah.
So they have to start a whole new thing.
One of the apes is Batman beginning.
Whoa!
Oh, you know what I do like?
Bad
Bad
Ape?
ape. Yeah.
You know what I do like about it?
No, there is Bad Ape.
He meets Ape Bat.
Which is cool in Kingdom of Planet of the Apes, which is essentially for people who haven't watched it, there was a trilogy that was like the Caesar trilogy, as Ray's calling it, and it came to a conclusion. And then they made a new one called Kingdom of the Planet of the Apes, or Rise of the Kingdom of the Planet, I don't know, whatever it is. Kingdom. Maybe it's just Kingdom. And it's way later, and they're all based on the history. They're based off the teachings of Caesar. But there's a ton of apes who are bastardizing it and being like, I'm the new Caesar. And they're taking all his lessons in a different way, and they're lying about what happened.
The Mormons,
Yeah.
The Mormons of apes.
But I think it's a pretty.
Sorry.
I think it's as good of an attempt as you can possibly make to begin a new trilogy after that.
Can I be honest with you?
I know. I know what you're gonna say.
This also made me proud because Finn, I have Kingdom on my hard drive. It's sitting there. We could watch it, and I told him like I'm down to watch it with you. You know what I mean? I'll watch it with Finn.
Yeah.
I don't really feel the pull to watch it on my own. And it's so funny because he was like, "Okay, who's in it? What's going on?" And he was asking about it. And I was like, nah, I don't think. And I had to look it up because he was like, well, is Cornelius in it? His son? You know, what are we doing here? And so I'm looking through and I'm checking stuff. And I was like, no. And he's like, so it doesn't really have any attachment to Caesar? And I went, no. And he goes, nah. Yeah. Right? And I was like, yeah. I was proud of him because I also think that, like, those 3 movies are about Caesar. You know what I mean? They're about that. If you go in... I'm sure people can go in and be like, I just want to see the movie where the apes fight the people and then they win. But that was the core. And so I'm happy that Finn, like a 10-year-old, understands like, no, I was invested with this character.
Right.
And that's really cool. That's like a more nuanced kind of look at it. And it's I'm proud of the boy.
I understand that viewpoint, but I think it's a little bit more... It's almost like I think that there are people who could have liked the original movies that could look at that, say the same thing about the Caesar stuff. They could say, is it about this? Is it about this? It's a new thing. It's probably not good.
Sure.
And they'd be missing out.
Yeah. No, absolutely. You know? Yeah.
I think it's... I really do. Like, I'm not the biggest Batman Begins dude. Mm-hmm. I'm really, really happy with what happened with Dark Knight. I really love it. And I think Batman Begins is a great lead into that. And I'm really hoping that's what Rise or Kingdom becomes.
Yeah.
I'm hoping that it goes somewhere great. But in the first one's... at the very least, good.
Yeah,
I would say.
Yeah.
So if you ever do get the inkling to give it a chance, I would say you're not going to be like, this sucks. You're definitely not.
No. I didn't think that would be the case.
Yeah.
It is funny though. Now Finn wants. His birthday's in March, and he's already like, I'm figuring it out. I want Planet of the Apes stuff, right?
Oh,
and I'm
cool.
like, that's awesome.
Yep.
Where, right? Like, where do you find this? And
you know what? I'll say this: get him an ape.
No, Dream Pet.
Yeah. His dream pet is Caesar.
Yeah, he doesn't. You know what? He said, I want a stuffed animal of Maurice. He's like, I want to hug Maurice, and I'm like, buddy, I do too. Yeah. You know what I mean? I want to hug Maurice.
I like the idea that Finn is like, hey Caesar, clean my room.
Oh no! I got the monkey now. Hey Caesar, you're my little slave. It's like, oh no!
Like,
he learned the wrong lesson.
You're having this nice time with Finn, and he walks in, and he's like, Koba was right.
Oh no! Oh, how about this? I'm walking through the living room, and he's sitting on the couch with the monkey, watching Planet of the Apes. The monkey is saying something in Finn's ear that I can't hear, and Finn goes, and then he looks at me, and I'm like, huh? And he does some sign language, and I'm like, I told you, don't do that in the house. If I can't understand it, I don't want that. Oh my god, that's amazing.
No, that's great.
Yeah, it was really special that he enjoyed it.
I love that.
It is funny though. Speaking of the present idea, right?
Yeah.
Finding things for him because he's a kid who's like, I love Bob's Burgers.
Yep.
None of my friends even watch the show.
Yeah.
I love Planet of the Apes now. They can't see it. You know, stuff like that.
And it's funny too because he loves Deadpool, Wolverine, and his other parents. They're not going to do the cut that you did.
I know
because you cut out everything inappropriate.
Ooh, I could start selling it to the other parents.
Oh, that's not so
Surely
bad.
there's no legal problems there.
You're becoming that Christian group that did that with movies.
Yeah.
No, I'm just taking out the sex, basically. Just any sexual comment.
That's what Christians do. They don't care about violence.
Oh, but I'll leave in a lot of stuff that Christians would be like, you know? Yeah. I'm trying to think of one. I guess you could say, in a lot of ways, what we're learning from that statement, and I'm going to piss off some people when I say it, is, I guess you're right. 10-year-olds and fully adult Christians often do have to be treated with kid gloves.
Are you?
I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry.
Are you? This is probably going to be a little outdated. Are you following these lawsuits about Deadpool and Wolverine? It's fucking bananas.
A little bit.
Cardone? Do you know about this?
No.
Is it Cardone or is it?
It's Cardone. Dude, this is so...
How many times are you going to say something I don't know what you're saying?
It's not
you might as well have both been looking at a bowl of pasta.
You sure it's not
Is that
Bologna?
Cardoni? That's Cardoni.
It's funny because this is not a topic we talk about on Funbearable, but it is so intriguing and bizarre. Blake Lively made this movie.
Oh, no, now I know what you're talking about. Yeah.
And with this guy.
Yeah.
And
Not Cardoni.
eventually...
Bologna.
All this... What?
It's rigatoni.
It's not Cardoni?
It's Bologna. Cardoni is a
Crime Family. Oh.
Is Rick and Morty.
No, his
Ian
name-
Cardoni?
I think it's
It's
close.
the Carbonaro effect.
Yes.
So,
That's what I was thinking of. The
Yeah.
magic hidden camera show.
It's so interesting, and I don't have a take. I just think it's interesting. Blake Lively did all those...
It can't be on a podcast if you don't have a take.
Blake Lively did all these interviews leading
Yeah.
up to that movie that was about domestic violence, and not only did they say that she treated it with too much weightlessness and whimsy, but she was also pushing beauty products, and there were these old interviews coming up, and it was showing her being kind of insensitive to people or whatever. She sued the other guy in the movie, the other lead, who I believe either also directed it or also wrote it. He had one of those roles, and said his legal team made all that stuff happen because he was sexually harassing her on set, and they have in writing and had been proven that there was all these rules that had to be put in place because of how he was sexually harassing her and other women on set. And she was like, that was done as a way to punish me for doing this.
Gotcha.
Right? So this is all going to court, and there's this whole thing, and his management dropped him, and all this stuff's happening.
Yeah.
And part of the lawsuit is that the character of Nice Pool in Deadpool and Wolverine is an intentional joke at his expense, and he's suing about that.
Yeah.
How bizarre is this?
It's weird.
It's so fucking bizarre.
Yeah, that's the level of bizarre I would say it is.
And
This is the stuff that does give like the people that are like, Hollywood elites and blah blah blah. It's like, well, this is the stuff that gives them ammunition of like weird petty lawsuits.
But you know what's weird though?
Yeah.
I almost feel like it's like they're cracking babies in half and drinking their blood, and I'm like,
oh, I don't mean those
Yeah.
people.
Oh.
Yeah, that's different. That's a very
well, I
different
guess
thing.
I guess I'm thinking of like the Diddy party people basically that
Yeah,
they're joking
yeah,
about.
yeah.
I'm like, you think that all that stuff that's that crazy is staying secret, but they're like, that character was making fun of me. I'm like,
Yeah,
no,
yeah.
this is so juvenile
Yeah.
and strange. And that character has like 7 lines in the movie.
Yeah.
And it's so exaggerated. I'm like,
It's weird.
It's so bizarre. Please look into it. I don't know everything
Yeah.
about it because I think it's fucking bananas.
Although here's what I will say. Oh, by the way, that was a great pull quote for the poster of Planet of the Apes.
Yes.
It's fucking bananas.
Fucking bananas.
There were dashes. Bananas.
It's Gwen Stefani.
Who's now Christian?
Yeah.
What's
Oh,
going on?
Is she?
Yeah.
Yeah.
She did a No Doubt reunion last year.
Yeah, apparently, I'm guessing ticket sales weren't great, so she's like, I'm going for another market.
Oh,
And
no.
she has like an infomercial thing.
No, it was huge. They headlined Coachella.
Oh, okay. But she has like a prayer app she's advertising.
I think it's because she married a country singer.
Blake Shelton.
Oh yeah, yeah,
I think it's because they started doing duets.
yeah,
Perhaps I didn't know the Christian thing.
yeah. It's a weird one.
I'd heard a little bit about it, but it's fine.
The way you said that was like
I thought it was like, is that a
Southern
line
grandma.
from one of her songs?
heard a little bit about it.
A little bit about it.
A little bit
I
about
was hearing through the grapevine.
That's another pull quote.
Yeah. Oh, through the grapevine. Yeah. You know how it do. Monkey see, monkey do. And then monkey see do. Is that something? Look out, Caesar's got a ski do. Oh my God, he's gonna jump that shark.
The shot on the jet ski.
When Caesar is escaping the army in the Fort Lauderdale area of Florida on that sea
Yeah,
doo.
of course.
That's cinema. That is cinema.
Really is. Yeah.
Cinema.
What's funny is we're saying that now, but imagine if we were like seeing ahead before those Apes movies came out and we saw us talking about the way we actually
we'd be
see
like,
them.
oh wow, the world's fucked. Yeah. Oh my
That's
God.
funny.
I had something.
Yeah, it was
This
Gwen
keeps
Stefani
happening.
became a Christian.
No,
Blake
this was
Shelton.
before the lawsuit stuff. Oh, Thank you. I have a fun little like tidbit about the movies.
Okay.
In the first movie of the trilogy, James Franco is playing, I guess, the lead essentially.
Yeah.
For that movie. Did you know that for a while he backed out of the movie because there was like a disagreement about like the script or something like that.
Sure.
But it was going to be the original Spider-Man himself.
Tobey
Maguire, yeah.
Oh, that's good. That fits.
I
Yeah.
could totally see it, and I actually kind of want that more.
Yeah.
That's
I will
cool.
say Franco is good in the movie,
Yeah.
but Franco is not the actor I would gravitate towards for a movie like that.
Yeah.
Does that make sense?
I agree. I think that, yeah, it's weird. It's almost like you need someone who feels a little bit more sensitive, just the way that they come off.
And can emote a little more of that concern and care. You know what I mean?
I think so too.
Yeah,
I mean,
I'm not knocking Franco.
Same thing.
In fact, I think they did an amazing job. Like, he looks real in
Yeah.
the movie.
Yeah, it's very
James
impressive.
Franco looks like a
Andy
real
Serkis
person.
did a great job with the James Franco motion capture.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
do you find it a little strange that they didn't have Franco in any way at all in the later movies?
I'm okay with that. I imagine there might have been a maybe a contract thing. Maybe he wasn't signed up for a sequel.
Yeah.
But also, I'm glad I don't
They don't
want
need
him
it.
in the next movie.
Yeah.
That's complicating it because now it's like, no. Now we're into the whole thing, right?
Don't you kind of, this is very specific, don't you kind of wish that he had a concluded story? Like, I kind of wish that the character passed away at some point.
I'm okay because we know that that's going to happen, and we know that it does happen,
Yeah.
right? And then in the second movie, we also don't get like a conclusion of the Kerry Russell and the other guy of
I
like
know.
that family that
Yeah.
that are they alive? Are they dead? We don't know. They get away. I'm okay with that. I
hear
think
you.
that's fine. And then by the third movie, I like this idea of like that was this one. Now that's this one.
I know.
And now we're up
Yeah.
to Woody Harrelson.
I know.
And he's fully an enemy, and we're
Right.
going to
Yeah.
do this. I'm okay with that, really.
I'm okay with it too, and I do find it interesting because I kind of do equate this movie to the Nolan Dark Knight movies, just in terms of gravitas
Mm-hmm.
as well as summer blockbuster. Like I was saying, don't you find it so interesting that Gary Oldman's in both in the middle movie?
yeah,
And
yeah.
such an important.
I pointed that
character.
out when
Yeah.
he showed up. I said to Finn, I was like, Commissioner Gordon.
Oh,
You know?
so he's
Yeah.
the best, dude.
Oh yeah, Gary Oldman is an amazing actor.
The best.
The shot of him looking at the photo of his family on the iPad, like beautiful, like range of emotion in what he's doing.
Yeah.
Anyway, I just realized one of our number one fun bears, Lee Leshin.
Yep.
Yeah.
Currently in the running for number one.
Yeah.
Versus Sabrina.
Yes.
And
upsetting.
Sabrina has said publicly online she has no interest in fighting Lee.
Yeah.
Privately, I hear maybe not the case. At the bottom of the little gift bag of candy that I received, at the bottom there was a note that said, "I will fucking kick his ass," and I was like, "Wow."
Well, here's
that's-
what's weird. So she left that. She said that publicly that she
Yeah.
didn't want to fight him, and she left a comment replying to herself, and then she deleted it. But I saw it
What did it say?
because I know we'd kiss,
Oh,
which is very
Yeah.
interesting.
now this is turning a little bit.
This is
Yeah.
very interesting.
This is unfortunate though because I do also know Lee's girlfriend and I like her.
Yeah.
yeah.
So I don't want that to happen.
I mean, she put a drawing in the bottom of my bag that was just a middle finger. So
Oh, I think that was just to you though.
Yeah, that was
Yeah.
probably for you.
Yeah.
okay, yeah.
Oh.
that makes sense.
Now the comment that I saw that she deleted makes more sense because I saw it on a deleted comment. Now I understand the context.
Ah.
So it said, because I'm afraid we would kiss.
Yeah.
But then I saw the deleted comment. I think it was because I'm afraid I would kiss him was yours.
Right.
And then under it, it said his gravestone because I would fucking murder him.
I did. Oh yeah, that's right. She left that one up, and I was like, oh, that's just half a sentence. Really
Yeah,
strange.
yeah.
And now
we've put the pieces together.
Yeah, that's good. I
Interesting.
Like that. Yeah,
Well,
very good.
he lives in New York City. Go get him. Lee calls me tomorrow. He's like, I got a plane ticket in the mail. It was crazy. Now I'm flying to Germany.
What'd you say? What'd you say?
Yeah, I'm flying to Germany now. I don't want to go.
I won't fight the Krauts again.
I'm not going to Germany to fight a German. I am a Jewish man. Sorry, Lee.
Yes.
But I realized because I have railed about these movies to him, I've been like, dude, you have to watch these movies. He's like, they're on the list. They're on the list.
Yeah.
And he hasn't yet. And he is the most anti. Don't spoil a single thing. Right?
Oh,
if we're talking about stuff that he hasn't seen, it is. I can't.
Yeah.
Because he's like, well, no, shut up.
Yeah.
So I'm worried. Sorry about this episode.
Well, you know what? I will say this. We didn't really spoil too much about the bad guys or the good guys in these movies. We just talked about how great the fighting is. We didn't really say, like, this happens, this happens, this happens, this happens. I talked about the teachings of Caesar were thought about 150 years later.
He doesn't know that it's monkeys. He doesn't know that it's a movie about monkeys.
I mean,
He loves James Franco. He's a Francophile.
I don't get this title.
Which is people who love France. Yeah.
you
of the Francos.
you need to reach out to him before we put this episode up.
Yeah.
And he's got to watch all of the 8 movies.
Yeah.
That's the only solution.
Any movie. It starts with the movie Ed.
Yeah.
I think he should
Is
start
that
with...
the name of the movie? Is that with
I know, yeah. What about Dunston checks
Yeah.
I was thinking Ed TV.
No, Ed had Matt LeBlanc.
in? Oh, yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
Man, they got both of them to talk by putting peanut butter in their mouths. I'm sorry. This year, Dunston checks out.
I was just thinking the same
I had to do it.
Is it the death of the monkey?
No, Dunston's gonna kill everybody in that hotel.
Okay.
I think they just put that on the poster for Dawn of the Planet of the Apes.
Yes.
And it just says that.
Yeah.
People will get it.
Yeah.
I'm in.
Yeah, I like that a lot.
By the way, though, I will say this: whole trilogy of Planet of the Apes movies, and not one scene in there scared me. Like I'm not scared of apes because of those movies.
Right.
But 4 minutes of film in the movie Nope.
Terrifying.
Terrifies.
See the trailer
me.
for Monkey? It
No.
looks fucking awesome.
I saw the trailer for Monkey Man, and I saw that.
Great
I
movie.
saw the film. What's Monkey?
Monkey was made by. Let me look at.
Monkey made by man.
Let me. Fish Monkey.
Oh no! Now
Fish-
you know
Fish
what I'm
Dolphin
thinking
Monkey
about?
Man.
I'm just thinking about the voice box gorilla in Congo.
Yes.
Oh, I
Amy.
love that.
Amy,
Ugly.
Amy, ugly.
Ugly gorilla. I love this movie Monkey.
Amy want more James Franco.
Yep.
It's directed by Osgood Perkins,
Oh yeah.
who did what did he do? Oh, he did something recently. that
He
people
just
really
did.
loved. Long Legs.
Yes.
He did Long Legs.
Yeah.
Monkey looks. I mean, I don't know.
Also co-star of the movie Now I'm a Dog or something like that with oh god, what's his name? I'm so tired today and I can't think. What's his he had an actual head injury in a motorcycle accident. He's an actor, Gary Busey.
Oh,
there we go.
Oh,
I
yeah,
got
yeah,
there.
yeah.
There's a direct to video movie.
Yes.
I saw this on Red Letter Media.
Yeah.
Where he becomes a dog
Yep.
or has a dog brain in his body. Anyway, it's Gary Busey walking around, like running around like a dog.
Yeah.
Right? Like in bushes, like, oh, I'm a dog now. Oh my God. You know, that kind of
You
stuff.
do abuse?
Huh? Yeah.
Let's not phrase it
Oh, I don't
like
do abuse.
that.
I don't do abuse. By the way, you said earlier domestic abuse. I'm like, what about international?
That's Sabrina Lee.
What? I gotta go to Germany. This is a movie now.
Yeah.
But yeah. He was Gary Busey had this movie where he's a dog for some reason. It's insane, right?
Yep.
I think everybody sees him as a dog.
Yeah, something
but
like that.
We see Gary Busey like peeing in a bush.
Yeah, I do. That does tickle some part of my brain.
Osgood Perkins is in that movie.
Really?
As like the angel helping him. It's
don't-
insane.
I don't know too much about Osgood Perkins. I really enjoyed Long Legs.
Yeah.
I really enjoyed that video afterwards that you watch where you see the devil in every shot.
Yep.
Or not
Oh,
every
sure,
shot.
yeah.
You got to see that.
Yeah.
This trailer, I don't know if it's up your two alleys, really,
Please don't say it that way.
but it looks to me, I'm like, I am delighted by this trailer. Like I was watching it, I was like, this is gonna be fucking crazy. I'm excited for it.
Nice.
That's really fun.
The Monkey.
Yeah.
I thought it was a remake of Monkey Shines.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
That's one of those VHS videos from when I was a kid that you see in like a video store.
And it always scares me because it's just that little automatic monkey with the symbols.
Yeah.
And it scared the shit out of me.
Did you ever watch it?
But then I found out it's a guy in a wheelchair with a
Yes.
helper monkey. I'm like,
Yeah.
he doesn't even have symbols.
no,
Yeah.
he doesn't have symbols.
This is bullshit.
It's like the monkey from Ace Ventura, which is no longer my dream pet. But the final scene of the movie is they have the guy, he's about to get back surgery like me and Brad had, and like you're supposed to have, but you don't have yet. And they open up the guy's back. The monkey screams out of it. And
Is that for real? I don't even remember
that's
that.
the end of the movie, yeah.
That's insane. That's such an insane scene. The idea that he would be in a surgical room.
Craig, put it in. Put in the ending of Monkey Shines where the monkey bursts from mid-spine. And somehow, if you have the skills, have it be Brad's face.
Please don't.
Or at least put Brad's face by the guy's butt.
I'll allow it.
Make it raise back. Directed by Chuck Staten.
Directed by Andy Serkis.
Did you see how well he played the Brad monkey?
Yeah. Did you know that butt isn't even there? Oh man, this has been a real bounce. Yeah, this has been a real bounce, but it's been a lot of fun.
Oh yeah, that was great.
I am literally dizzy right now, and have been for the past 6 minutes.
I think there's bad air. There's bad air in here.
There's some miasma of something. But folks, send us an email, funbearablepod@gmail.com. We're always happy to hear from all y'all.
Have you seen Monkey Shines?
Well, if you haven't seen the Caesar trilogy of Planet of the Apes, it's not called that. We're calling it that because that's the person we follow through those. The recent ones. I think 2009 was the first one.
Sounds right.
Yeah.
Rise,
Dawn, War.
Rise, Dawn, War. Mm-hmm. I was raised on war. Mm-hmm. Is that...
That's sad.
Yeah.
Is that a thing? Let's make it a Sony Spider-Man spinoff.
Yeah.
I got a great idea for a song.
Maybe Spider-Man will be in it. He won't.
It's an anti-Vietnam song. We just have to go back. We have to go back to like 1968 so we can do this song. Does that sound good?
I'm good.
I'm down.
Because I wrote one about being born on the bayou.
Yep.
And also not being a fortunate son.
Good, yeah.
Yeah. So if you haven't seen the Planet of the Apes trilogy, and this episode finally tipped you into it, when you're done and you have fallen in love with them, and you're like, I'm ready to go to war for Caesar, write us an email at funbearablepod@gmail.com. Let us know. If there's another blind spot that we have of a movie that we're like, people are like, what are you talking about? You know?
Yeah.
Let us know. Absolutely.
I'm purposely keeping way better track this year of all the movies and all the stuff for Chammies, for the Fun Bammies at the end of the year.
Nice.
And if we're lucky, if we cross our little paws, if we just wish and wish and wish and hope and hope and hope, one day a Gibby film will happen. And it's clearly going to be a CGI Gib. Right?
Yeah.
That's the G.
Yeah.
Computer gibberized image. If we're lucky, we get circus.
Yeah.
There's only one man that can bring this Gib to life.
I think that's true.
And he lives in hell and he's the king of it. It's Satan the devil.
Yeah.
Yes, that's right.
If we can't get him, we'll get Andy Serkis.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
I think Andy Serkis is going to be Null, the villain from Venom 3, and he's going to come into the Marvel movies. I'm hoping it's not. But that's what I'm hearing. Bad News Bears.
Who knows?
I heard the Bad News Bears are going to be in Marvel movies.
Yeah.
They're new Avengers.
Yeah.
Right.
But folks, thank you for sticking around with us today. We really appreciate it. We appreciate all of you. For Ray Harrington and Chuck Staten, I'm Brad Rohr saying thank you so much, and we're sorry for being Funbearable.
If Lee and Sabrina do fight,
Yes.
I think the only fair thing is to bring them to a neutral country.
Okay, such as.
Yeah, that makes sense.
We can take them to Switzerland.
Switzerland, yeah.
Yeah, I was gonna
Have a
chocolate.
Swiss fight.
Yep.
And we get to go and watch and enjoy and determine the winner.
Yep.
Right? Because maybe...
Yeah, they're judges. If there's not like a
maybe it's not a
knockout or something.
definitive TKO, right? Points-based system.
Yeah.
But then we get to hang out in Switzerland.
That'd be pretty nice.
Have some chocolate.
Oh,
You know?
yeah. By the
Find
way,
some Nazi gold.
I do love not taking a side in conflicts.
Are you the king of Switzerland?
Ooh.
No. That's a trick question.
Yep.
There would be no elected official leader of Switzerland because if there was a vote, no one would show up.
Yeah.
Ray, please bow before your cuck. The cuck of Switzerland.
The cuck of Switzerland?
As opposed to the king.
Yeah.
That makes sense.
Kings and cucks.
Yeah. Have you guys met Sabrina?
Not personally, no.
Oh, wow. I'm the only one that's met her.
I think we
Yeah.
FaceTimed.
That's fun.
We FaceTimed with her before the Clerks show.
That's right. That's good. That's good. Yeah.
Oh, that is right. Yeah.
Nice.
So I've spoken to a screen that had her image on it.
That's
Yeah.
good.
And that image was moving and speaking.
That's pretty good. I like that.
I think that counts, right?
Yeah. It's good.
FaceTime is like the. It's like the quarter jerk off thing of technology.
Yeah.
You know, the peep shows, the ladies would come and then this thing would slide up and
Yeah.
and you put your quarter. I don't know. Those don't exist anymore, I think. I've never experienced it. They're before my time.
No, I don't think so.
Back when Times Square was filthy.
I missed that. I missed all that stuff.
Yeah.
I can't even think of it. I can't even picture it.
Ooh, I can picture it. Brad, I'm picturing Brad running, screaming, and crying down the street.
To be fair, I do that in Times Square now as well. It's just too much going on.
Don't badmouth it. You know,
Too much going on.
You're still you're on the job hunt.
Yep.
Yes.
What if you could get a solid job behind that glass?
Oh.
Would you do it?
Oh, yeah.
How much would it take to get you behind that glass?
I mean, here's the thing. We've all heard the Winston Churchill story of like, we know what type of person you are. Now we're just negotiating the price. So I say no. I learned from Winston Churchill.
Everything has a price.
Yeah.
What does
I
that
learned that
mean?
from Ted DiBiase.
What's the quote?
It's ma'am, would you have intercourse with me for £1 million? And
Okay.
she says yes. And he says, ma'am, would you have intercourse with me for £10? She says, of course not. What type of person do you think I am? And he says, we know what type of person you are. Now we're just figuring out the price.
That's interesting.
That's what, he was pretty famous for saying cool things.
And then that got downgraded
Yeah.
later to a stupid saying that would be said, which was like, oh, would you blow me for $100,000? And somebody's like, I mean, I guess. And then you like throw $1 at them and go, well, give me $1 worth. That's
Oh,
that's
wow.
another one. Yeah.
Who did you do that to?
Nobody. I didn't do it.
It was done
My
to
camp
Ray.
counselor did it.
Yes.
I was going to say, yeah, where'd it
He
go?
wrote a check.
And the check
And it bounced.
Little Ray at the bank.
I'd like to deposit this into my Dino Saver account. And no, I would. Please don't read the memo. Please don't read the memo.
You walk back out of the car crying. Your dad goes, why are you crying?
Yeah. My shoes untied.
But up.